So in this segment, we're going to be discussing Humza Yousaf kind of calling out Starmer a little bit in this interview, and it would make sense given that his main competition in Scotland will be Labour, but also the fact that he has taken a principled stance on Israel's invasion of Gaza far more than I think Starmer has done. Let's not forget what he said originally. So I found this clip quite interesting. So let's have a listen.
You have been one of the UK politicians who's repeatedly called for a ceasefire in Gaza. Why do you think others have hesitated before doing that?
I think there's just...
So she's clearly setting him up to attack Starmer here, which is bad, in my opinion, kind of bad journalism, because it's clear what she's trying to do. She's instigating an attack on Starmer, even though he does deserve it, but it's very clear what Koonsberg is doing.
It's a lack of leadership and moral courage, if I'm being frank. And this is a classic example of where I think nobody understands what Keir Starmer stands for. Why has he not shown the appropriate leadership on the issue of Gaza? And I don't know the answer to that, but I don't know how anybody can see that level, as I say, of death and destruction and not call for an immediate halt and an immediate ceasefire.
And we did see Starmer hesitate. I think there were a lot of kind of things going around on Twitter saying that the reason why Starmer took such a hardline stance is to say, the Labour Party aren't anti-Semitic anymore, and then he didn't realise how bad the Israeli government are, that how malicious they are, and the fact that you had Netanyahu on record years ago saying that he's against the Palestinian state, so Starmer took the wrong stance initially, and we know that to be true. That interview with Nick Ferrari, that really bad, infamous interview with Nick Ferrari, awful stuff. Him going to a mosque and then putting out a tweet saying something on the lines of, "We called for Hamas to release the hostages." Like, the people at the mosque were not going to be able to achieve that. Why you said that, I don't know. He had to then kind of edit and add stuff to his tweet, which made it look less bad, but really, really horrible stuff. So yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to Humza Yousaf for having moral principles and sticking by them.
Do you think sometimes people place a different value on Palestinian lives, on Muslim lives?
Without a shadow of a doubt, that if you talk to anybody who's Palestinian, you speak to many people in the Muslim community, they feel that the Palestinian blood is very cheap.
I think he's right there. I do agree with him. I did see this from David Lammy and Labour saying Benjamin Netanyahu's comments were unacceptable. A Palestinian state is the unalienable right of the Palestinian people, or of the Palestinian people. And they're obviously talking about that story where Netanyahu said there won't be. He doesn't believe in a two-state solution. Biden incredibly frustrated with that. I think Starmer is incredibly frustrated with that. I don't know if Sunak would be, but Grant Shapps had made statements kind of echoing what echoing what Biden and Starmer have said. But it was weird that there were stories came out just a couple of days ago talking about how Labour wouldn't back the automatic right for a Palestinian state, that they would back whatever, they would wait for Israel to say that there should be a Palestinian state. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? It's like they're just briefing two different things. It's very confusing, to be honest. I think this was a story, but I'm not sure how great the sourcing was, to be honest, but it's just, we get these kind of leaks. I think the stuff we see, ironically, in the Telegraph from Labour seems to be the more accurate stuff. I think there are Starmer's team is very leaky, and someone or some people in there, I think, are leaking stuff to the Telegraph. It's very awkward, to be honest with you. And I think we just need a clear direction of what Labour stand for, because they are, they say, some of them say one thing, some of them say another thing. They talk about t-shirt politics or protest politics. It don't make sense. There's no clear message, I think, and that's one of the things that does concern me about Labour, and something they really need to work on. And I think the SNP have been very clear from the start about how they felt about this, that why there should be a ceasefire, and they've held on to that since the beginning. And if they've only been more and more vindicated, the more kind of Israel takes actions against civilian infrastructure, against civilians, and it's on camera to see. We can all see the attacks, we can see the destruction, and it's just. It's getting harder and harder to argue. Like the case, South Africa are taking Israel to court over genocide, and Israel's arguments are not very strong at all, and that's something we've covered already on the channel. It's just not going well, for the statements they had made initially. 'Cause maybe they thought Israel would not react like this, but I think Israel have reacted in almost the harshest way they could possibly do. Which is essentially just level as much of Gaza as possible. It's a very scary situation all around, and I hope that kind of Labour can figure out what side of history they want to be on with this. It's clear where the SNP are. It's not clear what the Labour Party are. And I think with the Tories as well, they don't really care that much either way. Like, I don't think they care much for a two-state solution. I think they're just scared that it's making them look bad at the situation that's going on there. I think Biden is the same to an extent. I think that, one of the things that damaged America the most during the Vietnam conflict was seeing the pictures and the stuff coming out of Vietnam, what was going on over there. And with America kind of arming Israel so much, American taxpayers know where those weapons are going, and they can see the carnage they are causing. It's not good at all. And I think that's one of the things that is really going to hurt Biden during the America's next election. It'll be really interesting to see how he kind of handles it, because the White House are not dealing with it well at all. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.